I think it is finally time to figure out what is going on with the Evo 8. What is up? Welcome back to the channel. Since the STI is nearly complete, well, it's 100% complete now. We just are finishing up a few last little things. I think it's finally time to direct some energy to the Evo 8. This car's just been sitting around ever since it started smoking really, really bad. It's going through about a quart of oil every time we drive it. As you guys saw when I pulled it in the shop, it smokes a bunch. Now, I've already done a compression test. The compression test numbers were fine. I think it was like 160 across the board on a warm motor. I never did do a leak down test. There's really 3 different ways that a car could burn oil, especially that bad. Number 1, turbo. Number 2, valve stem seals. Number 3, the oil rings. We already replaced the valve stem seals. That didn't change anything. We already replaced the turbo, or had it rebuilt by Turbo Lab of America. That didn't change anything. And so that's why I did the compression test, and compression numbers were fine. But I'm still pretty confident that it is something in the bottom end that is going on. I think the first thing I want to do is redo the compression test. When Bobby and I were racing Evo 8 versus her Evo 10, just kind of fooling around, not actually racing, but just kind of messing around, this car started smoking really, really bad. I haven't done a compression test since then, so let's do a compression test. If those numbers check out fine, I'm going to go ahead and do a leak down test, but I'm pretty sure no matter what today, we are probably going to be pulling the motor out of the Evo 8. Not a super big deal. And quite honestly, I've been pretty freaking excited to pull the motor out. Not exactly sure why. I am excited to do that on this car because it was just out like half a year ago to do like the clutch and Cerakote, powder coat, all that good stuff. But we never touched the bottom end. So yeah, I'm just gonna start diagnosing stuff, pull the bumper off, pull the headlights off so we don't mess any of that up. Run through compression test, leak down test, see what those numbers are. And probably no matter what though, I have a feeling we're gonna pull the motor. Unless I can see something going on with the turbo. If the oil return for the turbo was plugged, I could see that pushing oil through the seals. We already did valve stem seals. I don't know what else it could be. We are sitting right around 145 to 155 PSI on a cold engine, which I think is really, really good numbers. I'm gonna move on to a leak down, see what we figure out there. And these good compression numbers really make me think it's not bottom end, but the compression rings aren't what seal the cylinder off of oil. It is the oil rings, the oil control rings. If those go bad, which I've never really seen those go bad and not compression rings at the same time, but if those go bad, it's going to burn the oil and it would still have good compression. But like I said, I've never seen that happen where just oil rings go bad and not compression rings. So we had 15%, 15%, 15%, and 45% leak down on cylinder 4. Now, usually when you do a leak down test, you can either tell if it's coming from the crankcase, which is out of the valve cover. Also, in my instance, it would be the catch can, or the intake, or exhaust. Intake would be intake valves, exhaust would be exhaust valves, and coming out of the valve cover or the dipstick tube, that would be the bottom end, a bottom end issue, a ring issue, or piston issue. But in this instance, the pressure is coming out of, I believe it was cylinder 1, either cylinder 1 or cylinder 3, I forget which one it was. Either way, guys, we got some weird stuff going on, so I think I'm just going to pop this motor out real quick, pop the head off, and see what we figure out. All right, a couple hours later, we have the motor and transmission out. I do want to kind of reassemble this car a little bit and pull it out of the shop just so we can work on other stuff as we are rebuilding this motor. I don't know what all we're going to need yet. I don't know if it's a complete build or if it's just some minor stuff. I guess we'll figure it out here shortly. But right now, what I want to do is get the car back together, get it out of the shop, kind of do a quick cleaning on the floor. Then we can pull the motor from the trans and start tearing into the motor, see what exactly is going on. All right, guys, all we really have to do from here is pop the head off, and I'm sure we're gonna see some stuff going on. Obviously, I'm gonna completely tear apart this motor. I wanna check the rings, check out the pistons, obviously the bearings. There was no copper in the oil that I saw. Probably pull apart the turbo again, make sure that is good to go. I'm gonna be replacing pretty much every single aspect of this engine. Of course, if the pistons are good, I'll keep those. I know there are Wiseco's in there right now. If the rods are fine, I'll use those. They are mainly H-beams. But yeah, let's get tearing into this thing and see what we find.